It's a new season, and we are going to continue to try and redefine what is possible in Pokemon by trying to get into Master Ball tier using Lugia. Now, I just lost a game, however, I could clearly see how I should have won, and that's always the key. As long as you can see a path to victory, you know it's not the team and it's just you. So, I need to do Lugia justice. We are playing Julio. Hoenn Krozma, very interesting team. So looking at Lugia as a lead here, it does have some potential policy activations that it can't actually do much to deny me a self-policy activate, and leading Zacian into the Steel Fire, Intimidate Core obviously doesn't give us too much value. So Lugia Raichu looks good. Mungus doesn't provide much value here. Incineroar, yeah, I mean, they've got 3 physical attackers and a dark type, so Incineroar seems sufficient. Gastrodon could be annoying for them though, just because they don't have much. They can't knock it out easily, which could allow us to cause them a lot of problems with Yawn. I personally hate playing with Incineroar, maybe it's just me. I do think the Intimidate pressure is quite good here though, so let's go with Incineroar. Moltres Suicune leads, so I'm anticipating the Tailwind and potentially the Nasty Plot here. So I could go for the self-policy. However, I think Eerie Impulse is I think Calm Mind into Eerie Impulse is a really strong play here, just because it completely destroys the damage output from their Moltres. And if they go for like Snarl or Fiery Wrath, they'll just give us a policy boost. I mean, Nuzzle seems quite strong here. I could just see them going for Max Airstream, but I don't really mind this in the slightest. Yeah, they are going to Dynamax, and I don't really regret this play because I've essentially just identified that I'm not going to pick up knockouts even if I get a policy boost, just because both of these Pokemon are very specially defensive. Whereas using the Calm Mind Eerie Impulse play, even sacrificing the Fake Out pressure, I open up an opportunity for them to activate Weakness Policy for me while also completely just annihilating their own mats, because they're completely vulnerable to Eerie Impulse, Nuzzle, etc. The key thing is, are they going to activate my policy for me? Because if they do, we will be at +3. We can comfortably stall them out with Recover. And, you know, this is what Lugia is built for. They go Max Darkness into Raichu, which is very smart, playing around the policy. Wonder what Suicune's going for, Tailwind perhaps. Yeah, and the cool thing here is we can just use Nuzzle. I'm a little bit anxious about activating a policy on their side though. Part of me wants to go for Calm Mind again. I mean, there's really just like no reason for me not to just Recover here, just to stall out their Dynamax. I mean, I assume they're going to go for the knockout onto Raichu. Yeah, I'm just a little bit anxious about... Incineroar is a really good switch here, just because it completely tanks them. And it will give us Fake Out pressure the following turn. Now, I'm playing quite defensive here just because I've identified that I can absolutely stagnate and frustrate their Dynamax and then just launch a devastating counterattack. I think that's pivotal to getting turn 1 momentum correctly in Pokemon, is identifying who has the superior momentum with regards to Dynamaxing, and knowing when to not Dynamax, and knowing when there are opportunities to stagnate a potential impulsive Dynamax from your opponent. And if they activate policy here, I mean, this is amazing for us because they've just activated weakness policy and we're going to reactivate multi-scale. So we're at +3 special attack and we are at neutral special defense because of the max darkness, but because of multi-scale, they're still going to struggle to knock us out. I think it's really unlikely they target Lugia again. I could parting shot. Or I could fake out. It's also not the worst time in the world to Dynamax. The idea behind parting shot is I could go into Zacian and then give Zacian a speed boost the following turn. I went into Moltres just because it still is their main threat. I think there's a huge argument for me not to Dynamax here. The reason I am is I'm just conscious of the Tailwind turns. And I want to try and knock out their Suicune before Tailwind ends so they can't get it back up again. Wait, I could have just gone for Fake Out. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why I didn't go for Fake Out there. I think I just completely forgot about it. Oh, they get a critical hit. That is very lucky by them. Yeah, I mean, we might regret not going for the... Yeah, so not going for Fake Out was a huge misplay there. I mean, obviously it's hard to account for a critical hit like that, but... we still... Oh my god, that's a one-shot knockout. Is that a critical hit? Well, I know we're at +3, but still. So we could go for Raichu here just to give us Fake Out pressure. Yeah, so the reason I always go into Raichu is because they're not going to have a Dynamax Pokemon, and Fake Out guarantees that they can't attack with both Pokemon, and I'm a little bit anxious about Trick Room, I suppose. So I guess there's a question of, do we want to... The thing is, Necrozma so very rarely runs Protect. Part of me just wants to get damage into it. 'Cause I think Moltres here is kind of useless. Yeah, I'm going to Fake Out. And do they Protect? They don't have Protect. So if we get the knockout here, I think, given they have a completely useless Moltres on the field... Okay, they do Nasty Plot, but they're only back at neutral now. I think they should just essentially guarantee us the game if we get the knockout. Okay, we don't get the knockout, even at +3. But that's fine because we now pressure them with a knockout this turn. So Lugia is putting in a lot of work here. And Max Airstream should just KO, so I could Volt Switch, but I'm a little bit anxious about activating a policy, so I think Eerie Impulse is the play here. Yeah, and they should always lose the game now because Raichu outspeeds their Moltres and we can completely nerf them with Eerie Impulse. And so yeah, that's the strength of Lugia, I think, is using the multi-scale ability which halves damage on your first attack. You can essentially just completely stagnate their Dynamax, especially if it's a special attacker like Moltres or Kyogre. They still have Ho-Oh here, so I guess it's not over. But we can nuzzle into... I mean, we're still at full HP, aren't we? So we've got multi-scale active and everything. I guess I'm a little bit anxious about activating Berserk. I mean, do I need to nuzzle? It's like slower than everything in the back. Three flying types in the field. Now Ho is a physical attacker, so it might be able to deal decent damage to Lugia. But as you can see, it's not enough here. Lugia, just a complete tank. Essentially just wore down every single Pokemon. I mean, it KO'd Suicune. It's going to pick up a knockout onto Ho this turn if it doesn't miss. I guess they could... I actually don't think they KO with Fiery Wrath, so we're good to just double into the Ho in case Aeroblast miss is... And that will be game.